What is going on, my friends, my people? It's Cooper. This episode of the Welcome to Cooperville podcast is brought to you by Midwest Meals. My friend Dan Beck, who has been on the episode, and I am teamed up, and we're doing some cool stuff. Midwest Meals, located in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We're talking meals ready to heat, and not crap either. The healthy stuff, the good stuff, leaving you with no more excuses to not eat healthy, because it's faster than going through the drive-thru. Check out MidwestMeals.com. You can create custom meals, build your own perfectly designed meal to hit your nutrition needs. Pick your protein, pick your carb, pick your veggies, and from over 1,000 combinations, and they're all made fresh. You can also pick out from their signature meals an online rotating menu of 12 different meals. Many come with a double protein option. You can check it all out at MidwestMeals.com. Oh, and by the way, they ship across the country, so you just go online, MidwestMeals.com. You put together your cart, your meals for the week. They'll ship it out to you. Boom, it's at your door, and you're eating good for the entire week, wherever you are in the country. We had the jerk chicken last night. Damn, that's better than restaurant quality, and it came from Midwest Meals. And listeners of this podcast, check this out. On your initial order at MidwestMeals.com, use the promo code Cooper at checkout, and we're going to get you 10% off. That's 10% off your initial order using the promo code Cooper at MidwestMeals.com. Podcast is also brought to you by Monster Energy. Monster Hydro is my new favorite thing. I didn't even know it existed. And all of a sudden, I tried some, and it has changed my life. Hydration and energy all in one. Find Monster Hydro at a store near you. And if you're preparing yourself to maybe doing some fall and winter bulking, check out Muscle Monster as well. The podcast is also brought to you by Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club, VGHC, all over your social medias. Check out their awesome line of fall wear hoodies. It's hoodie weather, and you're going to want to be rocking that Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club for the upcoming hockey season, or just because it's badass. Seriously. ViolentGentlemen.com. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're on the Twitter. Just search for Violent Gentlemen. We got some cool giveaway stuff coming up with Violent Gentlemen here in the next couple of episodes. Speaking of episodes, dropping a new one right now. My buddy, my friend, my bearded homeboy from Texas, Matt Jimmy James, frontman of Blacktop Mojo, is on the Welcome to Cooperville podcast, and it starts right now.
Welcome to Cooperville.
Do you know what's fun to do in Cooperville? Pack up your shit and get the fuck out!
Listen. www.welcometocooperville.com. Who the fuck says www anymore? I can't even say it. www. Stop that. The Welcome to Cooperville podcast. On demand anywhere quality podcasts are available. And some places where cheap podcasts are available.
And the local gas station has some.
Subscribe, get updates, feel better about your life. Welcome to Cooperville.com. Check.
Welcome to Cooperville. Make sure you use a coaster. The wife gets upset when we leave rings on the tables.
Matt Jimmy James, leader of the Gingerbeard Army.
Yes.
Doing the thing, is on the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm well, man. The beard's looking good, man. You're looking like it's freshly oiled. You got some good shit going on over there.
Yeah. I washed it today.
That's good.
Your beard's looking pretty good too, brother.
You know, it's a process. This was
You didn't have that the last time I saw you.
No, I was babyface, and then I got let go from radio, and I wanted to look homeless for a bit.
Yeah.
And I accomplished that for a while, but no, it's starting to come in. Feeling good about it.
Homeless is the end thing now, dude.
I know. I feel like a fucking man now. Like I walk into places, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking right. Yeah. Don't you forget, I'm here. I'm at the gas station.
You feel like you could have survived in the Old West.
You know? Oh, absolutely.
Pioneer shit.
And I'm working on this too.
Oh yeah.
Some of that shit going on, but
I've never been able to pull that one off. I feel like I'd look too much like a young Santa Claus.
Well, that's the first thing my kid said. He's like, so, like, Dad, like, you and Santa, like, you going for that look? I'm like, it's no gray in there yet, dude. Like, settle down. You're 9.
At least he's sharp, dude.
Like, I got years left before that. And when that shit happens, man, I'm going to the beard doctor and I'm getting some fucking color in that thing.
There you go.
But no, Blacktop Mojo, we connected several years back in my years in radio. It was, Where the Wind Blows, it had just dropped. And, you guys were hard and heavy after that. But, a lot of this, I want to talk about, about you and, finding your path into music. And obviously you got some big things coming up in the next week, less than a week. I know you guys are on the hustle after that. But, when you go back, there's a lot of bands out there that jump on doing a cover song and do a really fantastic job at it. Blacktop Mojo takes one of the biggest rock anthems ever, like in the history of fucking rock and roll, and kills it with Dream On, the Dream On cover. I remember watching that video for the first time, I think even before you guys hit the studio for the last record, for Burn the Ships, and I was like, fuck, dude. Killed it.
Thank you, brother. It was a fun one to do, man. It's I'm really glad that everybody liked it, because that kind of could have gone one or two ways,
There was a fork in the road with that one. Yes, there was a fork.
I'm glad that it went the positive direction where most people were on board with it. So.
Did you when you go through a process like that, and this kind of goes back to even when you're starting to find your vocal range, obviously you can hit a lot of everything, but the process in your mind, or as part of the putting a song out there, do you go, damn, this is a big chunk? I mean, that's a big chunk to chew off.
Luckily, we recorded that one it was a pretty low pressure situation, I mean, we weren't planning on doing it. We hadn't really started posting very much stuff on YouTube or anything like that at the time. So we kind of just went out there and had fun with it. And I remember it took us 2 days. So we went in there and recorded the bulk of all the instrumental stuff. And I remember I took a crack at it the first day we were there, and everybody was like, ugh, jeez. But I went out there the next day kind of where nobody was there. And, I didn't feel like I was holding anybody up, because the studio was it's in where we recorded that one. It was in our hometown here. So everybody kind of wanted to go home. It was the end of the day, it was kind of one of those things. And I felt like I was kind of holding everybody up, but so I went back out there the next day, and it was, like I said, real low pressure situation, and just kind of messed around and figured it out, man.
Yeah, that's good though, and I know you guys took some time with this latest record that's coming out next week, and we'll get into that. But to flash even further back, how does a kid from Rusk, Texas, become a Chicago fucking Bears fan? I mean, there's got to be some family connection there, because that just doesn't implant itself down there.
that is 100% true. That's cowboy country for sure.
It is.
Got made fun of a lot. But my family, a lot of my family, or most of my family, is from Illinois, from the Southern Illinois, Peoria area. So I was born a Bears fan. Unfortunately until the last couple of years. Yeah. Right? So
all of a sudden it looks good to be a Bears fan.
Right.
You feeling good about this year? I mean, Trubisky's looking good. I mean, he's looked good the last couple of years. Some people, I think, when they drafted him in the way in the draft that they drafted him, there was some question marks, but kid's been able to pull it together the last couple of years.
I mean, the one thing we've been missing is a good quarterback. I mean, we had Rex Grossman last time in the Super Bowl, and that didn't go so well. But I'm feeling good about it, man. I mean, we got Khalil Mack now. He's pretty unstoppable for us. I mean, David Montgomery's looking good. So I don't know. We'll see, man.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that the NFL and luckily Bears fan, Packers fan.
Right.
I'm not sure, and especially your vibe growing up in Cowboys country, America's team, and all that bullshit. But I don't think there's any better way for the NFL to have chosen to kick off their 100th season than Bears Packers on Thursday night.
I mean, it's got to be the oldest rivalry in the game, right? I mean,
it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and it's cool too, because I feel like they're pretty. Right now, you guys got a new coach and all that kind of stuff. They're pretty evenly matched, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty good game. Nobody's going to get blown out.
I've been watching the whole offseason, with Matt LaFleur now as the coach. And I've never seen, obviously, Mike McCarthy was a tremendous head football coach, Super Bowl champion, consecutive, playoff appearances. But the reaction of the female gender when Matt LaFleur was hired, I was like, oh, yeah. Where y'all ladies been like the last, 20 years jumping on board the Packer bandwagon? Like, yeah, I'm going to watch the games this year. I'm like, wait, what? Like, oh, handsome head football coach. That's what it takes, I guess.
I mean, same thing as Patriots fans, I feel like.
They really like that Bill Belichick. He's got that. No, wait.
yeah, exactly.
He's got that handsome.
I meant more Brady, but
I know. My wife is diehard
but
Patriots.
That hoodie though.
Oh, Darth Hoodie, man. You don't mess with Darth Hoodie.
No.
So growing up in Texas, a lot of musical influences can come, from that area. Where do you remember music first kind of finding its way into your life and, kind of becoming part of the fabric of who Matt James became?
I remember I don't remember why, but I asked for a guitar my dad had been playing me a lot of Van Halen records and stuff, and like he would always pause on Eruption or whatever, like and make sure that I was like, he was like, I saw him do this live. He's like the best guitar player of all time. Dad's a big Van Halen fan. Yeah. And so I always thought that the guitar was cool. So I think that's one Christmas I asked for a guitar. I think I was probably 11, 12 years old, something like that. So I had one kind of sitting in the corner of my room for forever, and I would pick around on it, but I'm still not very good at it. But I mean, I was always, it just kind of, something pulled me towards it, and I always just liked messing around on the guitar and stuff like that. And I was in a church youth group in Rusk. There wasn't a lot to do, and a lot of my friends went to this church and stuff, and we were at this lady, like a barbecue kind of thing, at one of the church ladies, the ladies that went to the church's house, and we were walking through her house, and she had this old guitar. Actually, I have it right here. I know this is just audio.
Oh, it's all good.
It's just old fucking toy guitar right here, and I put real strings on it and everything. And I this was back before Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So I would sit out in the garage, and we had a TV out there, and I would just pick around on the guitar, and I started teaching myself chords and stuff. And this was around the time I was probably a senior in high school or something like that. And I was dating this girl from another town, like from Palestine, where we live now. And I would call on the phone every night, and I would try to play her songs, and she would ask me, hey, can you learn this song? Can you learn that song? And that's kind of like how I learned how to play different chords and stuff. Huh. So,
have you ever sent her a thank you letter?
I should.
I'm just saying, find
no,
her.
I have sent the lady from church. She actually, we were walking through her house, and I got kind of lost on the tour, right? And I just picked up this toy guitar, and I was picking around on it. And she was like, "Why don't you bring it outside?" And I was picking around on it basically the whole time. And when we went to leave, I went to give it back to her, and she was like, "You've played that guitar more than anybody has in the last 20 years. Why don't you just take it home?" And so that was her. I have sent a thank you letter to, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have learned how to play any kind of guitar.
She opened the gateway. She opened the door.
She did.
That's cool, man. So when you're, you get to that high school age, obviously, find that chick on Facebook and be like, hey, thanks for making me learn chords, for
yeah,
and making me drive to Palestine, Palestine, Texas. And then when there comes a point, I think, where you can make a decision whether music is going to be like a thing that you like do on the side. It's something that, I can pick up a guitar and play it, or it's something you're going to try to make a life out of. And
right.
And you guys being, I want to say in your infancy, because you have, you've been around for a little bit. It's a struggle. It's not as I don't want to say easy as it used to be, but there's many more challenges out there. So where do you go and find your way into, okay, yep, music is going to be my thing, and I'm going to dedicate basically every day of the week. There's no off days in music.
No. I was in college, and I lived, I had a room by myself, which was cool. So I used to just play guitar, and I would make these YouTube videos and stuff, and I started putting them out there for like my friends and stuff to listen to. I play at parties a lot, and I just always found I think it was the thing that I found more joy in than anything else. Like I went to school. I thought I wanted to be a doctor at one point. I got my degree and everything, but besides the point, like when I was supposed to be studying, I was always playing the guitar, or trying to learn new songs or sing or what have you. And I one day just decided. I remember telling my dad, and I was like, I really just want to do this. And he was like, well, finish college and then you can do it. Right. Thank God he did that. Right. Yeah. I mean, but he was like, if you finish college, you can give it a shot. I mean, you're young and all that. Ended up graduating, moving back home here. And I met our drummer, Nathan Gillis, when I was working at a coffee shop, and I'd play, like every other weekend or something like that. We ended up meeting up through some mutual friends and stuff, and kind of like we would write each other off. We'd run into each other at parties all the time, and people would be like, hey man, this guy can sing. Hey, this guy can play the drums. We'd be like, whatever, man. And one night we ran into each other, and we were just hammered drunk at a country concert. Cody Johnson, if you're familiar with country music. Yeah. I barely remember it, but like I was like, hey man, I'm playing at the coffee shop tomorrow. You should come out. And luckily he remembered. And that night he invited me back to his house. He had a drum set set up in his living room, and he went to town on it. And I was like, damn, dude. Like, I mean, he's a good drummer. Don't tell him I said that.
I won't. Keep it. We'll edit that part out.
Keep that on the demo. But that night we just we sat on his balcony and drinking whiskey and plotting to take over the world and start a band. We had no idea what that meant, though. So.
We're gonna figure it out, though.
Exactly. We've been figuring it out, and we're still figuring it out as we go along.
Hey, but you got I have, and I'll hang on a second. I better grab it. I know this is just audio, but
right.
Fucking things I ever got.
There you go.
When I was in radio, and it was weird because and maybe that's why I'm not in radio anymore, because I used to have this was sitting on, like, if anybody walked in my office, my desk was facing towards the door, and this was facing out there, and there was always like a little bottle of Jack or a bottle of Jameson that was open, just because you never know.
Right.
But this one remained sealed.
Right.
And still is to this day. So you guys got the whiskey figured out. Sure.
Yeah. Texas Silver Star whiskey, man.
Yes. Collector's item. Right there.
That's awesome, dude. You're the second DJ that we gave all those bottles to that I've seen that still has it sealed and everything, which it's for drinking, man.
I know. Trust me.
We're gonna have to come up there. We're gonna have to crack that thing open.
I got room in the studio down here. We'll make some magic happen, and we'll finally crack that. Well, if this podcast goes awry, it may just happen right smack dab.
There you go. Yeah.
So before we jump into, starting the band thing, making that decision, obviously, the finishing college thing, did you get any pushback? It sounds like your dad was very, supportive of it, gave you the encouraging words to, hey, you might want to, finish off the schooling and then make your musical pursuit. But that's when you're going into, like you said, to be a doctor, get into the medical field, one of the professions that you really want to have a person who has a college education doing you want to have them have some knowledge. But was there any pushback like, music, that's going to be a struggle, and you're going to be in a van with a bunch of dudes?
Well, yeah, it's my mom for the first probably three or so years that we were in the band. She would always tell me, you're going to have to get a real job one of these days. Which she meant it all out of love, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then I think we won a contest, and we got to open up for Bon Jovi in Dallas at American Airlines Center, and she got to go, and like they got to be in like a luxury box thing, and like with all the rest of the families of the band members and stuff like that. And I think that was the night she quit saying that.
Well, when you're hanging out with John and the guys, like
Right.
oh, you've made it now. You're good.
It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I want to dive more into that story, but we'll kind of circle back into you're on a balcony drinking whiskey. We're gonna start a band. Where does how does the pursuit and bringing other members in and coming up with a name
So I was working at the coffee shop
Mm-hmm.
in Palestine. It's Old Magnolia. If anybody ever is in Palestine, check that out.
Stop
It's
by.
still there. So the owner, I was really good friends with the owner of Old Magnolia. He would let me. I would work half the week with my granddad up in Tyler, which is about an hour from here, and then I would work the other half of the week on the weekends at the coffee shop, and I would stay with the owner. He's a really good buddy of mine. But he would leave us the keys and let us practice in the coffee shop after
Nice.
it closed down every night. So I called up a buddy of mine, Kenneth Irwin, that I knew from high school, and he was in a bunch of metal bands and stuff like that back in the day, or back when we were in high school. And I knew he could play guitar, so I called him up and I asked him if he wanted to come jam. And so the three of us basically just kind of started jamming. We played our very first show on a flatbed trailer at the Natchez High School Spring Carnival. We just called a buddy of ours to play bass. He'd never practiced with us before that day, but we only played like 4 or 5 songs, right. And I'm sure it went terribly, but it was fun. And but anyway, we just basically we kind of got together. Nathan called a buddy of his, Chris Davis, and we were a 4-piece for the first probably 1.5, 2 years that we were a band, and we just took every gig that we could find and played anywhere and everywhere. We'd play most of the gigs around here. There's like honky tonks, dance halls type of thing, and you play for basically 45 minutes, and then you take a break, and you do that for 4 or 5 hours a night, basically. And so we learned a bunch of covers, and we every now and then we throw in originals and stuff like that. And we ended up through gigging, we ended up meeting Ryan Kiefer, our lead guitar player. He was in another band with his cousin called Chasing the New South, which is a country band, right. But he really wanted to play rock, and we had just started writing rock songs, and we were playing a lot of the songs from our first record, I Am. And he was like, man, I really dig that. And we he started coming around and jamming, and so we became a 5-piece after that. And a couple more member changes here and there. Yeah. Our bass player, Kat, was working he was a sound guy at a venue up in Tyler where he's played out all the time. And K.I. had left the band, and he wanted to move to Nashville. He wanted to go do some solo stuff. And so we asked Kat to come jam with us and play guitar. He actually played guitar at the time. And then Chris left the band, and K.I. ended up moving back from Nashville. So Kat flipped over to bass, and K.I. was playing guitar for a while, and then he left again to go. We went on our first tour. That one week came and saw you actually at the radio station, and man, it was tough. It was 60 days straight, seven grown men in a van, like you were talking about earlier, and it got stinky and it got hot, and it got, we were all super worn out and tired and everything, and he decided that wasn't for him, the tour life. He likes traveling, but he likes, staying at the places he's traveling for a little while, so he actually has built himself a badass van like that he finished out the inside on. It's got a loft bed in it and a desk. And, I mean, it's sick.
That's cool, man.
And he travels around the country now and kind of picks up odd jobs here and there. And he's a cool cat, man. He's a different cat. But then whenever he left that second time, we got Chuck Webb for our Wisconsinite.
Yep.
Took over guitar duties for him. So it's been now that I've spelled it all out, it's been pretty twisted, twisted little road to get to this point. But
But it all sounds really nice. When you have the dream at first, when you're starting to write originals and you're starting to jump on, probably doing some weekend gigs, and you like you talked about playing the 45 minutes and taking a break and doing 45 minutes again. But you're still within travel distance of your home and a shower and the amenities that normal humans take for granted every single day. But when you have the drive to go out and no, this is like, we need to know we have to do 60 days in a row because we have a milestone we want to reach. We want to get to these stations and we want to get to these festivals. When you get through that, it's not for everybody. It's not something that everybody goes, yeah, let's do that forever. This is going to be my thing. And, there's always not just the struggles of being on the road, because they come with their own anecdotal things that come up, whether it's a van that breaks down or an axle busts on the back of a trailer. That shit happens, more often than, you want it to.
Had both of those things happen.
Yeah, I was going to say in last tour, but that doesn't even begin to touch on, the strain of not just family relationships, because obviously if you're pursuing this, you hopefully have some family support, but if you're in a relationship or there's anything like that, it's one thing to be like, babe, I'm going to go be a rock star. I'll be back in 2 months. But then to actually go through it, those things can be hard to survive. And some people are like, that's just not my gig. That's not my thing. That's why I think the successful ones and the ones that continue to put out music and like you guys work, get the new record coming out next week. You have to be able to kind of scar your mind with, well, that sucked, but now we know how to deal with that, and you can move on to the next thing. And some people don't want to deal with the struggles of the road, and man, I hope we sell enough merch today. Hope we sell enough merch at this show.
I mean, I think I had somebody one time that told us, it was an A&R. He was an A&R guy for a label for a long time. He was like, I'm looking for losers that have their shit together, if that makes any sense.
That's what you need to have.
No, no kids, no felonies, but guys that can pretty much just drop everything on a dime and go do 60 days in a van or whatever. So yeah.
And can you live out of, you have this much space to store your shit, and and whether it's clean or dirty, it's all going in the same thing. And have you visited a Walmart parking lot recently? Because that's where you're going to be, sleeping and waking up, and truck stops and all the fun stuff.
Truck stops are awesome.
Yeah.
I would just like to put that out there. They're the best kept secret in America. Truck stop showers, very solid. It's a 5-star experience.
And then sometimes you do find some quality cuisine at some of these places too. I mean, you never know when you're gonna be like, oh, they got a little restaurant attached here. Let's try it.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing better than finding a truck stop with a Denny's and just being able to sit for a little bit and, drink coffee and stuff.
Breathe it all in, man. Breathe it all in. You are, you're a workout guy. You like to throw heavy things around.
I do.
Where did that start? Has it been like a thing from high school, or was it more of a recent addition to not recent, because obviously when the first time we met several years ago, you were throwing heavy weights around, so.
It started. I played football pretty much for most of my life.
You're in Texas. Of course, you played football.
Right. Before that, I lived in Georgia, so it's kind of the same thing.
Kind of the same thing.
But yeah, I've my whole life since I was probably 10 years old, I've been lifting weights and trying to do that stuff. And I went and played in college, and pretty much the second that I was done with football, I kept eating like I was playing football. And I ballooned up to about 300 pounds. And then we started this band, and I was still 300 pounds for the first couple of years, but I needed to make a change, man. It made me better, better singing, better at performing, better, I mean, it's hard to move around if you're a fat boy. So.
And we talked about the struggles of the road and stuff. We talked about roadside, truck stops and food here and there. You know, you add in, you know, any sort of workout regimen into that, and it just adds a whole, I mean, that's like next level dedicated to not only, like you said, having to have some physical shape and have energy to go out and you know, put on a either 30-minute show, 45-minute show, or 90-minute show, and then load all the shit up and get back on the road. So you just add a whole bunch more work in there.
Oh yeah. We actually, this past tour, were cool. Had some dumbbells and like a little barbell and stuff with, like, you know, the pig iron and stuff like that, like you'd find in your backyard, and just basically did prison yard workouts in the parking lots. So, which I'm not sure if you're supposed to breathe in that many diesel fumes, but
sure.
It actually it made the workout go easier. So I can't fault it. So.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I think that shows, because you obviously are aware of the dedication that it takes to maintain that kind of regiment for your body, but to add it on top of the regiment you need to maintain to be performing artists and to do, you know, 5 or 6 shows in a row and then have an off day. You know, that a lot of that is 95% of that's mental, because you have to be able to say after a late night, all right, well, we're at, you know, we're in Kennesaw, Georgia. We need to fucking throw the weights off of the truck here and start lifting heavy things.
Yep, that's pretty much. It's really all about getting in a routine, man. Like, if you can, the way you make it through those, you know, 6 or 7 day stretches where you got to do, you know, 7 shows in a row or something like that, or 6 shows in a row, which is tough. For me personally, as a vocalist, it's really tough to keep, like, you have to be in good shape. You have to take care of your body and stuff like that. Otherwise, I know everybody thinks it's all partying and like Motley, like the Dirt movie, like or something Dirt. Like that. But, yeah, but you don't last very long if you live like that, man. And we learned that from all those guys. Those guys, a lot of them aren't around anymore. But yeah, it's about getting that routine going, and if you can get that routine going, and you can say, all right, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna work out at this time, I got interview at this time, you know, and just do that every day, then you're more than likely you're going to be successful, you know?
Yeah, because it's not just load in, go to the next venue, sound check, rest,
right,
play the show. I mean, you guys, and I think a lot of bands have to be now, is you have to be, it's lining up interviews. It's, you know, me taking an hour out of your night tonight, you know, to do on this podcast, but there's so much that goes into a day for working bands that are on the road, that are out touring, that are, you know, doing night after night. You know, rest, I guess, when you're dead? Sleep when you're dead?
Yeah, you can sleep when you're dead.
You get plenty then.
Yeah.
Where the Wind Blows, when that song came out, obviously, you know, had some chart success, did the festival tour, obviously you had your own gigs in between. What did that second record, Burn the Ships, which I just, so fantastic. I still rock. My wife and I both have the black T-shirt with the ship on it, Burn the Ships. Oh, yeah. We wear it loud and proud up here. That third album, the one that's coming out, what's your mindset going into that? Because you had success with the single. You got a chance to kind of get out and, you know, get some better slots at the festivals, and, you know, get some, you know, on some better tours, and, you know, you guys have played with some amazing acts, you know, not even on the festival scene. But what's the mindset going in to get ready for this new record to come out?
I think the mindset that pretty much any band, like, anytime you're doing a new record, it's like, all right, well, this has got to be the best thing that we've ever done. And I mean, you don't want to get worse, you know?
Right.
And hopefully we didn't. But this is the first record, this new record. It's called Under the Sun. Mm-hmm. This is the first record where we completely 100% of the writing process. We didn't have day jobs, so we sat here. We all lived together in this house, and we went and bought some recording equipment and stuff, and basically just wrote and recorded stuff 24 hours a day for like 6 months or so, and kind of just worked out ideas, and kind of drove ourselves insane, and tried to try to get what we thought was like kind of the best stuff we could come up with. So I mean, that was the idea going into this one, was just do better, I guess.
Do you think that, living in the same quarters, being around each other, obviously they're probably, like you said, maybe with some people driving each other crazy because you are confined, but obviously you're all after the end game is the same, is to put out great songs, to write great songs. Is being in that close proximity, do you think that helped it's a long process. 6 months, that's actually getting to take some time and really dig your teeth into a record. Do you think that helped, all being in the same house together?
Definitely, man. I mean, at any time of the day, if somebody had an idea, it's like you don't have to lay it down. Like a lot of bands, that live in separate house, all around the country or whatever, they got to lay down an idea. They got to email it to their buddy and then just wait and see what happens. Whereas I can go across the hall here and knock on Kiefer's door and just be like, hey man, I got this idea. Can you help me flesh it out? Or, and vice versa. And like, we'll get the whole band together in 5 minutes. The four of us live here and then Chuck lives 2 minutes down the road right here. So we can all be in the same room and jamming out, trying to write a song in no time. So it really does help.
That's got to be good for if you have an idea, whether it's lyrically, whether it's, this a riff or a beat that's in your head, if you sit on that, sometimes that thought all of a sudden is completely different than when you originally thought of it. And it's really tough to find that, like, that was kind of it. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. But when you have somebody that's like, if Kiefer is right across the door and you just, can, throw something at him and be like, hey, I got this idea, and you can flesh it out right there. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah, you get more of that. You get more of the lightning in the bottle kind of thing, where you're like, this is it right here. Like, yeah. And so it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't change up like from that little bit of waiting or whatever. Yeah.
You guys got the record. It's ready to go. Got a new single out. It's doing really well. Phenomenal song. Love it. When you have now, this will be the third record under your belt, and you've been able to, and you guys are doing this really cool thing, which I wanted to talk about, is really integrate your fans into this, not only this album release, but the process, and you're doing, videos like what you're doing, one video a day with the band and doing an acoustic song for your fans. How has technology intertwined itself with what Blacktop Mojo does as far as getting their sound out and letting their fans be a part of the, it's peeking behind the curtain?
Oh, absolutely. I think we're fortunate enough to have that opportunity to be in this day and age. Like you said, it's not as easy as it used to be, to be a huge band, to blow up overnight or whatever. But it's also easier than it's ever been to find a fan base and to find people that like your music and to create a community out of those people and really, like, I feel like that's what we're trying to do is kind of just create a big family, a big group of people that we like hanging out with and that we like seeing when we go around the country and stuff.
Yeah.
The technology's allowed us to do that for sure.
Do you ever find it weird, like say you guys are doing an impromptu Facebook Live video, and whether you're on the road or whether you're sitting in the house or just jamming or doing a Q&A, that you're just sitting there, in Texas, and you'll be like, hey, let's go live. And all of a sudden, these people who are doing something else in their life, they're walking the dog, they're at work, they're at school, they're, doing something completely focused on something that's in their life. And they get a little ding on their phone. It's like, Blacktop Mojo is live. And they're like, well, fuck that. I don't. Bye. Goodbye, Fido. Hang on a second. I want to see what these boys are doing. Is that cool? I mean, that's got to be kind of a, wow, like people will adjust their lives according to when we're like, let's talk.
No, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's always cool to see, like, I mean, I think I had there's a chick from Italy yesterday that was like, when are you coming to Italy? It's like, you don't ever think we're in the middle of nowhere in East Texas. You don't ever think you're reaching or that you'd ever be able to talk to somebody on the other side of the world or anything like that. It's awesome, man.
Or that your music is a global, and that's what technology has done. Bands may not be able to blow up like they did in the 80s and 90s, even more so the 80s when it was like the show and you went out and it was the big tours and the big and pyro and all this other stuff. Now you have this device in your hand, which we are, recording a podcast on, that can really send things that you write and things that your band puts together. And now it's in Italy, and that person's just like ordering shirts and, wants you to come on. Like, hey, come on, you can stay at my house. It's fine. Come on over. I'll make dinner.
Yeah. I mean, it's a blessing in the fact that you can reach that point where you have friends and fans or whatever all over the world, but it can be a curse, like you said, because anybody has that accessibility. So like anybody can start a band, anybody can start a Facebook page, there is a lot of noise. I mean, you starting your podcast, it's the same kind of, you got to break through that have to kind of scream over top of and try to separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah. I mean, that's, one of the biggest struggles that I've gone through in this transition into a new form of media. And that's what it is. It's taking a talent and using it in how technology is moving its direction. But there's so much out there. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to put a podcast out and make it a global thing. But what you do need to have, and I'm anal retentive, so I have like a nice mixing board, and I bought the fancy microphone and stuff like that. But you want to be able to stand out and be different. And however that happens, however it's talking to guys like you and guys in the bands, that when fans go to a show and they see you for that 90 minutes and they don't know, I mean, they know, but they don't think about you after you're done, and whether you're standing by the merch table signing autographs, you have to go load, you have to head to the next town, you got another show. These people their day was excited for the show, get pretty for the show, go to the show, drink at the show, meet the band after the show, go home and go to bed. What I love doing on this podcast, and not just with musicians, but with people in all fields, is like the stories, because that's what I think fans really love hearing, is how did Matt James, what was the first song that he heard? He was like, yeah, that's badass. When you hear Eddie Van Halen, and you're like, damn,
yeah,
that's my thing. People love hearing that stuff. So you hope that can break through the noise of a lot of other stuff that's out there. And it takes, hopefully one of your fans will listen and be like, yeah, that was really cool. I learned something today about Blacktop Mojo I didn't know before. And, they all live in the same house and they get in a van and they stink, it's human stuff.
It's a powerful smell.
It really is. It smells like East Texas and man.
Yeah. A lot of man.
So the new record, tell me about it. It's coming out on Friday the 13th. You guys must not be superstitious, which is good. Believers.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was Friday the 13th whenever we first. But, hey, maybe it'll be lucky. Who knows?
You know what it is? And somebody, I can't remember who it was. It was an artist it was Wilt Chamberlain, I believe, who said he wore number 13 not because it was bad luck for him, but because it's bad luck for everybody else. So coming out on Friday the 13th, that's bad luck for every other album that's coming out, because Mojo's coming through.
There you go. I'm definitely going to hold on to that quote for sure. It's 10 songs. It's called Under the Sun. Mm-hmm. It's about it's named after there's a verse in the Bible talking about during the life of King Solomon, where he's basically like finding love in all the wrong places. Like, I mean, he's just going through women and wine and sex and drugs, and and I feel like it's an experience that we all go through at some point, where you have to you're trying to find peace and you're trying to find love in all the wrong things, when all you really have to do is look inwardly. And right. I think that's, to something, to a higher power for a lot of people,
right.
To find that inner peace. And I think that's what we named the album after, because there's nothing new under the sun. We all make the same mistakes, and we're all human.
Yeah. Sometimes we learn from them, and sometimes we're like, nope, just gonna do that over and over again. Just gonna
Yes, exactly.
keep on trying that shit.
It's all part of the process.
You live and you learn, and sometimes you just have to keep on learning every single day.
Amen.
So new album again, Friday the 13th, September 13th, available everywhere. I'm sure digital downloads and all that stuff. But as far as the rest of 2019 goes and into the new year, Hitting the road?
We'll be here in I think a week and a half or so. We'll be on the road with Buck Cherry for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Doing about 10 days with them, and then I'm not allowed to announce it yet, but October through the end of November, we'll be on the road with a few other bands that we're pretty excited to be on the road with. It'll be another headliner run, and we'll be going up the West Coast and hopefully back down through the Midwest, because people in Wisconsin like to rock. So
we do, and we don't even care about the weather. You know, it'd be fucking 45 below zero and 10 feet of snow. We're like, let's go to the rock show.
Well, yeah, we were playing Rock USA, and it got evacuated because of the weather. And everybody was mad about it. You know what I mean?
Like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna survive this.
Just a tornado.
There was. I think there was a video. I think it might have been from Rockfest, but because they both happened over that same weekend, and both experienced some pretty severe weather. And there's a dude. A video of a dude, and I'll shoot it over to you, standing in the campground, and there's got to be 65, 70 mile an hour winds, and he's just pouring his beer up in the air, and it's shooting right into his mouth. It was like, what? He's like, and it's just right into the. I mean, mostly all over his face, but I'm sure he got a couple of drops.
I mean, that's American ingenuity. It's fun, right there.
It's utilizing, the tools that are presented before you. You're like, well, I mean, I could drink it, but I've been provided with 70 mile an hour winds. I may as well make a show.
That's a very lemons lemonade situation right there.
And it's a very Wisconsin thing. It is so,
Yeah. The only thing that could have made it more Wisconsin if it was fried cheese curds flying in.
I was going to say, he probably already had some of those earlier. You can tell by his body shape, he was not afraid of the curd.
Body by curd.
You know what? That's a thing. We should make that a thing.
That's a good thing.
There's so many damn fairs and festivals around here. We're going to come out with a t-shirt line.
I like it.
Let's make it happen.
I want in.
I want 49%. 49%. Well, lastly, thank you for the time. I know, this, when you get ready for, that record to come out, there's so many different things going on, and you guys are just attacking it, on social media. There's finishing touches and making sure everything is set to go for next week. But to take the time out to have a conversation, man, it means a lot to me and to the listeners of the podcast. So thank you.
Oh, dude, anytime, man. Anytime.
And everybody go get the damn new record. Comes out on the 13th of September.
Oh, yeah. And you can pre-order it right now, blacktopmojo.com. It's called Under the Sun, and we're pretty excited. Comes out next week.
Can't Sleep is the new single. Definitely check that out. And I guess I'll leave you with this. Go, Pack, go.
Okay, bear down.
There it is. Matt, Jimmy James, Blacktop Mojo. You guys are all over social media, right? Just search Blacktop Mojo, and they'll be able to find you guys.
Give it a Google.
Give it a Google. Put it in the Google machine and see what happens.
There we go.
Appreciate it, brother. Good luck with the album release, the tour of Buck Cherry, and the soon-to-be announced yet secretively sort of mentioned.
Don't you hate that?
The suspense, man. It's killing me.
Yeah.
It's killing me. And next time you're up in the great state, we're going to open this up. That bad boy's getting drank.
Gotta crack it open.
And somewhere around here is a picture of all you guys laying in a bed together. I can't remember if that made it up on the wall.
Okay.
Like, thanks. Ooh, whiskey. Oh, picture of a bunch of dudes in bed. Yeah.
This is a very awkward picture.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much, brother. My best to all the guys, and like I said, best of luck for the rest of the year. And let's touch base when you guys are up here.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks,
see
brother.
you then.
Appreciate it.